Today, we want to get down to the basics and just talk about what top producers do every single week and what most agents never stay consistent with. These topics for us are easy to talk about because they're based on habits, right? Routines and real experience instead of theory. And it also gives agents practical takeaways immediately. Good morning, Pete. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sharif. How are you?
Good, good. I just want to dive into maybe the top 10 things that top producers do on a weekly basis that agents just don't stay consistent with. So number one, I think is probably the most important thing is something that I know a lot of agents struggle with. And that's daily prospecting still matters today.
100%. A lot of people, and I have this conversation with some people that I talk to see if they'd be interested in joining. And a lot of them will say, I've heard that making phone calls doesn't work anymore because that's so old school. And that's this one of the limited beliefs that most people have just because this was something from whatever, this 50s, 60s, whatever you want to call it. But they think now they should be just doing TikTok videos all day.
Although, I mean, I'm not gonna disagree, TikTok videos can be a form of prospecting, but if you wanna efficiently, prospect, it's definitely getting on the phone, right? You're sitting in one location and able to talk to, like, hundreds and, to thousands of people on a daily or weekly basis. So, no matter how big the market changes or conversations are what really create the business, So, no matter how you're creating those conversations, you just have to have more of them, right? And what you really need to do is concentrate on just a few ways that you are prospecting. Definitely keeping phone calls in the mix, but I don't care if it's door knocking. I don't care if it's like, social gatherings or going out and basically doing anything you can to talk to more people. And that's what you need to do on a consistent basis. You can't win in this industry without talking to as many people as possible. The more people you talk to, the more relationships you build. That's prospecting in itself. And definitely don't quit yourself on actual social media because that's probably one of the top ways that you can prospect and keep it consistent one to many, right? So combination of phone calls and social media is how I find success. What about you, Pete?
I totally agree. I do agree that you definitely should be doing social media. It shouldn't replace prospecting, it's an addition to. And one of those things where most agents just don't do it consistently. And they focus so much on getting ready for a video or what they should do for a post. And same goes for phone calls, right? They don't do it consistently enough where they see results or they quit too early just because they didn't get any leads that same day. So one of the things that I definitely recommend, and you mentioned it, and I hope everybody paid attention, is consistency in this business and finding time, blocking time to do it on regular basis and assess before you start thinking otherwise and thinking that this is not working.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, you're gonna prospect, you're gonna find leads, in different ways. But also when you find those leads, we'll talk about topic number two, that's gonna be speed to lead, right? So you want to make sure that there's some type of urgency there because when you have leads that are contacting you, they're in the moment. You got to get them while they're in that moment as well, because it's really quickly they could really fall out of that moment. And you never know who else is also prospecting the same lead who has more urgency than you do. So, what you really need to do is make sure that you concentrate on speed to lead. As soon as that person comes into your database, hopefully you're using your CRM. As soon as you add them, as soon as it's automatically added to your database, you need to be contacting that person immediately. Don't wait and think, hey, I can do this tomorrow, or maybe I'll get to it later today. That's when we find that, agents are losing these leads more than anything. So just make sure that, you understand that the first agent that responds is usually that agent that wins. And, you want to get face to face with someone as quickly as possible. And remember just to make that phone call quicker than anyone else and keep that lead on the phone. So when everybody else is actually dialing them, you're the one having the conversation.
I remember maybe a couple of years ago, I got a lead and nobody on the team was available. And he called and he said, I want to see this house today. So I ended up going, and it's been a while since I've worked with buyer leads at that point. And I went and showed him this house, and he was like, "Look, I called the listing agent. She said she wasn't available, and then her next appointment that's available is in 3 days. I'm coming from Staten Island, and I want to see this house today because if I like it, I'm gonna put an offer on it." I literally showed him this one house, and he got an offer accepted the same day. And it's just goes hand in hand in what Sharif is saying. A lot of times we have to be quick to act on these leads. We have to respond very quickly, and we have to make it a priority that we meet with them face to face, not based on when it's convenient to us, but it's what's convenient for them. Because they called the listing agent wasn't available, or take forever to respond. And now he called us, and then we got him in the house, and he got the offer accepted. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying every lead is going to be like this, but the chances of you working with with a lead goes up dramatically once you contact them as soon as possible.
And Pete, how fast do you think is fast enough, like in today's market?
Oh, man, I know you spoke about this before with the top real estate team, one of the top real estate teams in the nation right now. I think their speed to lead is under 5 seconds. You mentioned, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere along between 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. So if the phone rings, you got to pick it up. If a lead comes in, you got to call them within 10 seconds. Now, is that humanly possible? Probably not, but there are systems to make this process easier for you. And we can dive deeper into that. But before you start buying stuff, you got to make sure you have a right foundation, like a CRM that captures all these leads in one place. So this way you have automation set up and getting that speed to lead systems working.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can have like a CRM system set up where it's sending out an automatic text to someone that automatically comes into your system. There's different ways to, address this, but best of all, I think is just making that phone call and don't slack on it. But really, it also ties into, having a correct database set up, right? You can't do this if you're haphazardly, practicing real estate. And having a database set up is essential because you're able to follow up into that database. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of people that are not going to be ready right now. Not everybody's going to be coming from Staten Island and ready to put an offer in a property. You're going to have to consistently follow up with these people. And the thing is, like, most agents are sitting on deals they already know, right? Most of your deals are already in your database right now. And I tell people all the time, it's not the new leads that you really need to be working. It's the older leads that have been sitting in your database that are most likely ready right now. And it does sound easy, but in reality, it really takes time blocking and consistency to stay on top of your database. So that is something that you really need to be consistent with is database follow.
I 100% agree. The fact is, you have people in your phone book right now on your phone that most likely are going to be making a move within the next 3 to 6 months. And one of the things that I know we both do on the team, Sharif, is that when we make sure that they upload their database or their sphere in our CRMs, so this way they reach out to them. The biggest thing is that people that you already know and they like you and trust you, these are the people that you need to get ahead of in front of as soon as possible. I was speaking with another potential agent that wanted to join our team last week, and she said, yeah, the current broker said that I got to speak with their sphere. There are people on my phone book that I haven't spoken with since high school. How do you go about that? And I was like, that's a really good question. Do they remember your name? She said, yes. Do you think they'll be offended if you call them since you haven't spoken to them since high school? She said, no. So what are you scared about? She's like, oh, I don't want to sound salesy because I haven't called them. And now I'm going to come off salesy because I want to tell them that I'm in real estate. Then we went over what Ford is and just checking to see if they had any recent life events in their, based on their social media, and tell them, look, hey, I'm sorry, I dropped the ball. I know I haven't spoken to you since high school, but I noticed that there have been a lot of things happening in your life, and I would love to catch up with you. What's going on? Where do you work now? How's your family? Like, I see you have some kids now. Congratulations. How old are they? Just be human. You don't have to be salesy to touch base with people. And she was like, you know what? That's more than what my broker talked to me about since I've joined in the last 6 months. And it was only a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. That's your script when you're talking to these people, and it's really not hard. But you wanna definitely, stay on top of your database, and I can promise you top agents that stay in touch without being salesy are the ones that are actually winning in this industry. So just remember that script, and tackle your database, right? Follow up your database. The gold is in the follow up, and the follow up is in your database. So you just really got to do that on a consistent level. Another thing you should be talking about or doing consistently is what we mentioned it a little bit earlier is definitely creating content, right? That's not an option anymore. You really need to have brand recognition out there. And I'm not talking about viral content, I'm just talking about any content. And it's really consistent trust building content. I don't know about you, Pete, but before I meet anyone, before I schedule anything with them, I'm going to search them both on Google and social media. You better believe that people are doing the same thing with you too. And you really want to have consistent content out there so that they can build trust with you before they even meet you. Right. And that's what really, it takes to succeed in this business today is consistently making this content and putting it out there so people can actually build that trust with you before they even talk to you.
It's crazy how many people don't do content and they don't do it consistently enough. They think they have to get ready for the video, which is only a 30-second reel. What I found also, because we've done this for so long without having a professional videographer come in and do this. Before we used to just have it on the camera, we used to get it edited by a VA and we would batch it. And that's what I used to do. But what I found was like just raw videos, just talking about real estate or what you're going through or what some of the clients' success that you've had or struggles that they've had. That usually connects with people a lot more than having an ultra polished content. And a lot of people just get in this mindset of analysis paralysis and they want to have this fancy video out and make themselves look, like they're going to a wedding almost, but it's not needed. People just want to see you organically. Show them behind the scenes, show them how it is to deal with you, let your personality shine because that's how people are going to connect with you. You're not going to be for everybody. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And that's totally fine. These are the people you probably don't want to work with anyways. The people that are going to reach out to you and watch your content, these are the people that are going to relate to you and going to be working with you, especially if you're posting it consistently. And one last thing I just want to add to that is I've learned that only 10% of your viewers are going to see your content regardless. So don't get so caught up on the number of views and all these things. And that's why we say post consistently and post enough content out there because if you post one a week, like, you have, let's say 1,000 followers, maybe 100 to 200 people are going to see your stuff. You do it every single day. Now you're 7xing that reach and that's 7 more times than that you're going to reach people that you didn't reach before.
Yeah, I agree. And to get that done, any of these things are going to require you protecting your schedule. And time blocking and having structure with your schedule is something that's essential. And it's something that top producers are doing better than just other agents out there. And top agents protect their schedule very aggressively. I mean, I tell you that like personally, that's really what we try to do in order to scale. And really what a productive week actually looks like is staying consistent with, you know, prospecting, following up, building content. Those are the things you want to do on a consistent basis, and that'll give you a productive week. You'll start to see your business start to, stack up as you're consistent and blocking your time to make sure that you're handling the right things.
Yeah, I mean, time blocking is everything. And that's one of the struggles that most agents face. And I think it's just because they get into this business thinking now they have time freedom and can do whatever they want. But that's not how you want to act in this business. Doesn't mean that you wake up at 9 a.m. and start work by 11 or 10. That's what a lot of real estate agents do. You want to treat it like it is a job and you have a specific time that you start and a specific time that you end your workday and be productive. Just because you're in the office doesn't mean that you're working. Because I've seen it personally with people that come maybe join our team or whatever. They just come here, they have their cup of coffee. Now they're eating croissants by 10 a.m. They're finishing their breakfast. I've been here since, for an hour and a half, but you really didn't get anything done. And I don't know what the hell you were doing for an hour and a half. So just because you're in the office doesn't mean that you're working. So you got a time block and actually do what you say you're going to do.
No, it's definitely true. I mean, you definitely need that structure, and be able to time block in order to do the most important things, right? And it's not only business. You probably want to also time block your family time or something personal for yourself, so you're able to decompress and go back to why you're doing this, right? It's always good to have that. But really, a key element with becoming more successful is also tracking what you're doing, right? Tracking your numbers is so important. If you want to scale, you need to know what is it taking to get the results that you have today and what can we increase to have better results in the future. Most agents are operating on emotion instead of real hardcore data, and data is what drives the business forward. So you need to actually track your numbers, and report your numbers to someone who's keeping you accountable and able to take you to the next level. So that's, I think, something that's really one of the most important parts as well, is making sure you understand where you're at, where you want to go, and what is it going to take to get you there.
It's a sport. You got to treat this like a sport. If you were running track, you were going to have a coach that is tracking the speed that you run on a mile or run half a mile or whatever the case is. And the goal is to increase that speed every single week or work on certain workouts so you can increase that speed. And that's exactly what it is. If you're not tracking, then how do you know what to improve? You can't improve what you don't measure at the end of the day. You can't just be winging it every single day. Oh, I'm going to make 10 calls today, 100 calls tomorrow, 50 calls today. And now you're wondering why your sales are not where they at. And it's mainly because you're not staying consistent and you're not tracking your conversion rate. If you say like, okay, and then tracking is not just a daily basis. You got to also sometimes zoom out and say, okay, well, let me look at a month data. Let me look at a quarter data. Let me look at a year. I went on 400 appointments this year. How many of those got signed? So what can I do to improve my conversion rate? What can I do to get more appointments? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And work on the things that you need to get better at.
For sure. Yep. And, the types of things you should be tracking, are probably like email sent, text messages sent, call attempts, conversations that you had over 2 minutes, and appointments booked, right? These are things that you're tracking. And if you want to go on a different level, how many offers you're submitting, how many listing appointments you've been on, how many appointments in general that you're booking, and actually consistently keeping. Those are just a couple of the things that you could be tracking on a daily basis and then trying to just make them just a little bit better, 1% better every day, right? So that's really the goal that you should have, is to be able to track, certain elements that are needle moving activities in your business. But with that, you definitely just want to just stay consistent with it and make sure that, you keep track of everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and you need somebody to assess what you're doing. You can't assess it yourself. Sometimes that's very hard. You need somebody that's doing better than you to review your calls. And this is one of the things that we do here on the team is on regular basis, at least 3 times a week, we are playing calls that some of our team members have had, and we give them a constructive criticism. So this way they need to know better. They need to know what to do better next time. If nobody's doing that for you, how do you know what you're doing is doing well or if it's not doing so well? So look for somebody maybe in your office or hopefully you have a team that can review these calls with you and they can tell you what to do better next time.
Yeah, because it's all about continuous learning, right? That's the next topic. Always be learning, always be coachable, always try to build on, your script practice, your negotiation, figure out different ways to market yourself, how to use AI at a higher level, and maybe just diving into your systems, right? Like if you can learn your systems better, you're going to get better in real estate. This is literally what I talked to my team about yesterday. And I showed them a couple of things that they didn't even know about within our CRM system that can make them just a little bit better. So you definitely will never want to stop learning. And having that hunger to learn more is going to drive you forward, and you'll find your business growing after you're learning more. You really definitely want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And that takes learning new things. People are normally, uncomfortable when they're doing new things. So definitely never stop learning, and take it seriously.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get left behind if you stop learning. Just because you've been doing this for X amount of years, it doesn't mean that there are no new tools that are out there that are giving some agents an advantage, such as AI. A lot of agents that I speak with, especially the ones that have been in the business for so long, and we spoke about this, Sharif. This agent that said, "Oh, why should we join your team? I don't need coaching and I don't need training." I'm like, "Wow, that's great. Well, how many transactions have you done?" She's like, "Oh, one last 12 months, but I had a bad year, whatever." Okay, great. That's the first problem, is that you saying you don't need coaching and training. Everybody needs coaching and training. Everybody needs to be learning. I'm always afraid of being that parent that is just so left behind. Like, I remember when computers came out and my grandparents didn't know how to use a computer. And my parents were, having a little bit of a hard time learning the computers. But I don't want to be that parent. I don't want to be that person that the technology is going to just make me outdated. So you want to be always learning any new skills that are out there, because the industry and everything, the world around you is changing so quickly. And if you're not learning, you're just going to be left behind.
No, I agree. And if you're going to learn anything, learn how to build relationships, right? Get better at building relationships, because that's the key to this business. And understand that, I say it all the time, nearly 50% of our business is still, repeat customers, referrals from customers, or sphere, things of that nature. So referrals and repeat business are really the foundation of the longevity of your career. So remember that building these relationships, that's what pushes everything forward, right? That's what actually makes your business successful or not. So just that is key. You want to concentrate on is just relationship building as well.
And this is one of the things that I don't think any technology will ever replace. A lot of people think AI is going to replace real estate agents, and they don't need agents anymore because AI can do a lot of things, but it's not going to be able to build a relationship at a high level with anybody. And it's one of, the human needs is relationships, one of the major human needs. So people do need connection. People do need to be heard. People do need to feel, emotionally that somebody cares about them. And if you're not learning how to do that at a high level, you're going to be left behind. And I don't think will ever be replaced by AI just because of that.
Definitely not. It's a relationship business, right? Everyone thinks we sell real estate, but in reality, we're not. We're building relationships with people, we're networking, we're connecting others. That's what the true business is about. But it is tough at times. So, another thing that we need to do, the next topic is protecting your energy and mindset. Nobody wants to talk to an agent that has bad energy or has the wrong mindset, right? If you're depressing and you're telling someone, oh, maybe you will find a house or maybe you'll be able to buy it, that's not someone anybody wants to be around, right? So burnt out agents struggle to perform consistently, right? But you just need to actually, have time to recoup so that you're not so burnt out, that you're in the right mindset, and really just stay motivated, because that's what people need. They need that motivation from you. They need your expertise. They need you to be your top performance in order to get the deal done.
It's one of the things that you have to consistently inputting things in your mindset that are positive, because that can affect how you think. If you're always listening to negative news, if you're listening to the news, like I just heard, I don't watch news, right? I just heard the other day there was like some sort of virus apparently going on. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, okay, whatever, but like people get so sucked up into this stuff that affects their mindset, right? So what can you do differently? First of all, make sure that you're protecting what you're taking in, and what you're receiving as far as information. Make sure that you are when you are going through a difficult transaction, talk to somebody that has done it before and listen to self-improvement books on a regular basis or read them, because that's how you're going to protect your mindset. Like sometimes, if I feel like I maybe emotionally reacted to something that happened in my business, and I first of all I got to be self-aware that I did this, then I go start listening to stuff that has to do with this problem. Like how do I, make sure that I don't react so negatively next time, right? So and you got to tackle it on a moment, because you got to keep dwelling on it, but if you can't find solutions for it and start learning how to deal with it better next time, then it's going to continue to happen. So that's what I just recommend on that.
Definitely. I agree. Mindset is key. But we also touched on the last topic a little bit earlier, and it's all about accountability, right? And I can promise you the best agents out there are usually not operating alone. They usually have someone in their corner that's like their advisor. Someone has been through it before. Someone is kind of showing them the way. Most likely, it's someone that has some type of coaching status. I can tell you that today we still have coaching. We've been coaching for over 5 or 6 years now. And this is really, when we found changes in our business and we're successful in becoming more productive. It's really about the accountability portion, one of the most important portions. And if you yourself are not like a team leader looking for accountability from a coach, maybe you're a teammate, or maybe you're someone within a brokerage that has a sponsor or has some type of mentor that can keep you accountable. But I promise you, accountability is crucial, right? Accountability changes everything. And you really need someone in your corner that can actually give you that push when you need it, or tell you when things are you're doing right and when you're doing things wrong.
I think it's one of the greatest hacks in any business and the greatest shortcuts is having a coach. I remember a common mutual friend of ours, Kyle. I've heard him say this one time when I met him, and he said, I pay for speed. And that always stuck with me. It's like, you're literally paying for speed, and you're paying for you not to pay for your failures on your own. And honestly, it's less expensive to pay for coaching or be part of a team that you can get coached by than doing these mistakes that could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career versus, having somebody tell you what you should do here, what you shouldn't do. It's crucial, and I think everybody should be either being coached by a team leader or have a coach dedicated to it. And I know a lot of people that have multiple coaches for the different parts of their lives, if it's business, if it's relationship, if it's fitness. There's so many things that, if you want to improve on, you might need the right person for.
Definitely. I mean, I totally agree with that. But if you guys just focus on these like 10 topics, you're gonna see changes in your business. You're gonna see success in your business, and it's going to be game changing for you. So just remember that, you need certain things, certain activities, certain theories that you need to guide your business by. And these 10 topics will take you there.
I agree. Great. Well, guys, if you do like this content, please subscribe, share, and comment below so we know that this is resonating with you. And so we can also know what to do next. We want content that will resonate with you and teaches you something or hopefully help with your business. And follow our Facebook group. Our Facebook group link is going to be below in the description. And if you do like this stuff, send us an email. If you're struggling with anything, just send us an email, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you and see how we can help. Have a great day, guys.